Did you listen to Jeff and Professor Hamo in the morning? Here's what you
Some
missed.
people's favorite time of the day.
Yes.
We call it a story
A day.
And on this day,
Yes.
January 23rd, 1920. I'll say that again. January 23rd, 1920. A young man was born in the homestead of Senior Chief Mogane wa Njonjo. Senior Chief
Mogane
wa Njonjo. So the young man became Njonjo wa Mogane. And he grew up very wealthy. I mean, they were very privileged. Being a son of a chief back then, there was a lot of privileges allowed.
Yes.
So he was able to go to Alliance High School for once. And then from there, oh, by the way, before he went to Alliance, the primary school he went to, he used to go to school on horseback. Horseback.
hizi tunaenda kupigwa picha nazo.
He's going to school on horseback.
Kai.
That's how privileged he was.
Yes.
After that, Alliance High School. And then from there, very few privileged students were able to go overseas.
Yes.
Very, very few. A handful.
Yes.
But the plan was to send as many young men and women overseas so that they could study and come back and utilize those skills that they got. So those days, I mean, my uncle was one of the first to go.
Yes,
back in, back in 1927.
My goodness.
1927, he was put on a boat.
This is 7 years after Njonjo amezaliwa.
Yes, Mbio was already going to.
How old was Mbio?
Oh, he was born in, I think, 1900.
He was old.
Yeah, so he was about, he was old.
27 years, yes.
He was old.
Yes.
So he was sent to America on a boat, 1927. Can you imagine? How long would it take to get to America then?
And you go round.
Yes,
South Africa.
Yes, the Cape of Good Hope.
Unakunywa maji hapo.
And then keep going until you get to America.
My goodness, that's like a month and a half.
Or 2 months. Or 2 months.
Yes.
By boat, 1927. Unbelievable. So anyway, the likes of Charles Njonjo as well, Dr. Joroge Mongai, the late, right?
Yes.
He also was privileged to go down. In fact, if they didn't go to America, where people mostly went, was South Africa.
That is the other place where
Yes. And by the way, apartheid had not become. I mean, it was there, but it hadn't become institutionalized. That's what we're looking for. That happened in the 50s. But, of course, there was separation. Of course, you know, blacks could go here, couldn't go here, blah, blah, blah. So most Kenyan students who were privileged to go overseas, as in out of Kenya, they went to South Africa, and in particular, Fort Hare University. Fort Hare, a lot of them in KwaZulu-Natal went to Fort Hare.
Oh, man.
Dr. Munywa Wayaki, he went there to study medicine, and then before going on to Scotland. Dr. Joroge Mongai also, before he went to America at Stanford, he ended up at Stanford to study medicine. Charles Njonjo did pre-law at Fort Hare University.
Classmates.
Exactly. So some of his classmates included, he told me in an interview, Nelson Mandela. And I'm one to Kwadong. Anatia around. Robert Mugabe.
Oh man.
Yeah, pia tu nikulala.
Na kukatalia desk za watu.
Chief Magosutu Buthelezi.
Oh man.
All of them, they were all in the same year, same class, same dome, same university. Those are the kinds of people you study with.
Wow.
So anyway, he leaves Fort Hare. Just like, you know, Dr. Joroge Mongai went to America, Munywa Wayaki went to Scotland, Njonjo ended up in the UK, and then went on to get his law degree and to study law. This was about the mid-50s.
Now in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK. Mid-50s is the height of Mau Mau. Obviously, right? It's crazy here in Kenya, whatever.
State of emergency.
But Njonjo returns. As soon as Mau Mau war is over, he returns. Now they're trying to form the first government. Fast forward 1963, Kenyatta appoints him as his Attorney General. First black Attorney General, African Attorney General. And he would remain that for 17 years. Until 1979. he would be Attorney General. In the meantime, so it's early days, right? Independence, Njonjo, with the same suit he's been wearing for 60 plus years. Pinstripe suit. 3-piece pinstripe with a fresh rose.
Yes.
Like you know, like
yes.
I forgot the name. That watch that, you know, you just take out, you clip and then you're a Rudisha. So, Mr. Pinstripe himself, part of the kitchen cabinet in Kenyatta's government. I mean, he is so close to the old man. Very close. The old man would consult him for a lot of things. The old man loved people who were smart and educated, you know, overseas, who had great ideas. So Njonjo, not being a minister, but he was in the cabinet, of course.
Yes.
He was very well loved. Very, very well. 1976. The one section in the kitchen cabinet starts saying, you know what, this old man is getting sickly. He suffered a couple of heart attacks.
Yes.
He could die any time now. Do we have a continuity here?
Yes.
Do we have a plan? Yeah. Who is in there? Who can help?
Yes.
And of course, Daniel Arap Moi was never their first choice.
Yes.
He was just picked. You know, Kenyatta just picked him randomly. And they didn't want, under the constitution, it said the vice president automatically succeeds the president for at least 90 days.
Alafu election?
Exactly.
And therefore do tuna.
Yeah, these guys didn't want that. They did not want the vice president. So they were talking amongst themselves. They wanted to raise this in parliament.
Yes.
Njonjo gets wind of it. He goes straight to Kenyatta. Tells Kenyatta, listen, man, there's some rebels in here. These guys are saying they're already talking about you like you're dead.
Yeah, man.
Like you're dead. And you know, you can never do that with a head of state. And he convinced Kenyatta. He convinced him that if anyone even thinks or even contemplates discussing succession,
ipite tu kwa kichwa yako. Jipeleke kamiti.
Treason.
Treason. Man.
So that motion was killed right there.
Man.
And you couldn't discuss. And of course, Arap Moi, who was Njonjo's favorite, who was Njonjo's pick, once Kenyatta died, Arap Moi succeeded him and he became president. But I think, you know, deep down inside, Njonjo thought that he could manipulate this man.
Oh yes, alisema hata ni mtu ndashikilia.
Exactly.
Takuwa nikimwambia afanye
anafanya. That's what he thought.
Hakujua
ni professor mwenyewe.
Yes.
Of politics.
Number 1.
What?
Kila kitu.
In fact, just to take it a step further.
Yes.
So Njonjo resigns as Attorney General in 1979.
Yes.
Because in order for him to be in the cabinet, as in a minister, he has to be an MP. Back then, MP, you couldn't be a minister without being an MP.
Yes.
So he resigns as AG. The guy in the Kikuyu constituency seat, name is Amos Nganga, resigns. Like he resigns today, tomorrow Njonjo declares, I'm running for
the same seat. See, he had planned it vizuri.
He had planned it, I'm telling you, he had bigger plans.
Yes.
So he gets elected unopposed.
Yes, hakuna mtu.
Moi creates a brand new ministry called the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. We didn't have that then. We didn't have that.
Before then, haikukuwa. Yes.
So he becomes the new Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Right? Everything is looking gorgeous. Fantastic. Now he said, Ikiti.
Yes.
Ikiti ni ya nani? Ni yangu.
Anataka kiti gani sasa?
You get of president of course.
So he's going for the man.
Exactly. Sio plan ilikuwa yake.
Kwa hivyo yeye ndo aliadvise Mzee Kenyatta. Let's chukua kamsi. Kaeke hapa. The good guy.
Boss. Unfortunately, 1982 August 1st.
Yes.
There's a coup attempt. Right?
Yes.
Which was quashed by the middle of the day and all that. But when they started now flushing out, people accusing them of being part of the coup.
Yes.
Guess who Moi indirectly referred to?
Pinstriped suit.
His main guy who put him in office.
Man.
This is Shakespearean. William Shakespeare couldn't have written a better script. So Moi accuses Njonjo through his underlings of being part of the coup in 82. Njonjo resigns
from the ministry now.
Those days nobody resigned. Njonjo denied it, but the pressure was so much, he resigned. a couple of days later, the first minister, probably one of the first ever, to resign from his ministry, an MP.
Yes.
He was dragged through. Now there's a commission of hearing is called.
Oh man.
He's dragged through for the next 15 months. Every day I go continue every day. And that's how people got to see him in court close up, because you could never see this man up close. Wapi.
He was too powerful.
That's when they saw those suits with his initials on them.
Yes.
CN going down. Pinstripe. And then one thing and because C, you're gonna N. CN.
Man.
Charles Njonjo. Can you imagine? Man. 15 months dragged through the mud.
Wow.
And
when
it was looking really ugly at one point.
Yes.
And then Moi, in all his wisdom those days, one day he just gets up at a public function and he says, "Oh, I forgive my good friend Charles Njonjo.
Yeah.
I forgive him."
Inquiry
kaisha, kila kitu kaisha, story finished. Typical Arab Moi.
Man. Roadside declaration. Na tumemaliza kesi. Fungeni virago. We don't care about your books.
No.
Tuanze tena. Stops everything.
Njonjo. This is 1983, right?
Yes.
For the next 25 years. And he's still getting older.
Yes.
For the next 25 years, he wasn't seen in public at all.
Man.
Self-imposed exiler.
Yeah, akotu hapa Kabete Shire.
Either Kabete Shire or UK Shire or
Shire yote Shire.
Can you imagine?
Man, 25 years.
Yeah.
He has never served in any position.
Nothing. And he didn't want to be interviewed. He didn't want to associate with anybody. He just led his own life for the next almost quarter century.
He was shocked.
That people could do that to him.
He knew he was going for the seat.
I think so. I think that was his ultimate dream.
Yes. Must be.
So late 2000s, the first decade, he comes out. He comes out of nowhere.
He's like 70 years.
Exactly. He's about 70. He's looking great as always. Same pinstripe, same consistency, same Sir Charles.
Kizungu ya Queen.
Bars. Now he's supporting Raila.
Ah, yes.
Right? Around 2006, Hamo. He's support. Can you imagine? And to this day, he's still been very supportive of Raila. Very supportive. He says, this is the guy who should be the next president. He's always said that. Always.
So he believes,
He believes. And now, today, January 23rd, 2019, he turns 99. One short of a century. Still going strong. Still consistent. Still with the same pinstripe.
But golf.
But no, achezi golf. Like he swims every morning.
Golf.
Yeah, swimming every morning. He does 2-3 laps. Every evening with his dinner, he has a glass of something or other. One glass. One
is enough. At that age.
Imagine. Oh, 3 children. He's got about 5-6 grandchildren. He's okay. And even though he married very late, by the way. He was about 53 when he got married.
Why?
Because
he got busy.
90.
90.
Yeah. 53. So this is what 46 years later. Can you imagine?
Man.
Next year, God willing, he will reach that century.
You look at all his contemporaries. Wakina Mugabe.
Mugabe. Who is living? By the way?
Mugabe?
Only.
Yes. But then Mugabe peke yake.
And Magusutu Buthelezi, he's still alive.
He's still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. Who else? Even in Kenya, who are his contemporaries? He's older than Arab Moi.
He's older than our newest member of the board. 91, yeah.
He's older than anybody we know.
Yes.
Sio?
Yeah, he's older.
Name someone who's around his age.
Moody. Nani?
Moody is what, 91, 92?
Yeah, like 91.
Moi is what, 1924, so about 95?
Yes.
Who else?
He's older than everyone.
Can you imagine? He has outlived his entire generation.
I think you self-imposed nini exile his idea.
Na kuwa wa late.
Yes. Alikuja kama wisdom imeshika. Wisdom ilikuwa imeshika.
That is the story of Sir Charles. And they called him, everybody calls him Sir Charles.
So because of
his British manner, because of his mannerisms.
And was he knighted or something?
I asked him that once. He said, he laughed it off. He says, even the Queen calls me Sir.
But why vanyo ile kitu ya kuwekelewa?
But they called him Sir Charles, the Duke of Kabeteshire. Where he's from, you know, Kikuyu Apo Kabete.
Yes.
He's the Duke of Kabete. Even today, most people, when they see him, say, hey, Sir Charles, hey. And he loves it.
Everyone. Hakuna mtu anajua ati anaitwa jina ingine.
I'm telling you.
Man. And he's lived a good life.
And in one incident, while he was still Attorney General, I'll tell you real quick.
Yes.
There's an incident. Remember when Palestinian terrorists hijacked an Air France plane?
Yes.
Remember? And they wanted to seek sanctuary somewhere, and they ended up in Uganda. Landed in Entebbe.
Yes.
And the plane was full of Israeli tourists. Right? And the Israeli commandos decided to make a move because Idi Amin was going crazy. Yeah. And he had teamed, they said, you know what, we have to go on our own rescue mission. It became a movie called Operation Thunderbolt. If you look it up, it must be on Netflix or something. There was 2 movies made actually, one called Operation Thunderbolt and another one called Raid on Entebbe. 2 movies, great movies about these Israeli commanders. So anyway, Israeli commanders figured we would fly our own plane. We would simulate Idi Amin landing in Entebbe. In other words, we get our own Mercedes-Benz, like the one Idi Amin used to ride in. We color it, you know, Ugandan flags, Kila Kitu, it looks just like Idi Amin. We put a black guy in the back to look like it's Idi Amin. And we'll go in on our, what is this, these big planes, the Antonovs. Land it, the car comes out, commandos around it. We hit that place and we rescue our guys. That was the mission. They said, okay, it sounds good. And then they practiced for days and days. I mean, it was crucial. They had to do it. Either do it or these guys will get killed. But they figured, where do we refuel? Because we can't fly into Kampala, into Entebbe from Tel Aviv and fly back. We don't have enough fuel. Where do we refuel? So they called Charles Njonjo.
Man.
He's the only guy they knew. They said, we need to refuel in Nairobi. Could you give us clearance? John just says, goodness, if I go to Mzee and I tell him these guys need to fuel here, italeta shida. But he gave them permission.
Chini ya maji.
So then they went and refueled. They did their mission. They rescued every one of them. Except one old woman who had fallen sick.
During your...
Her name was Dora Block. She had fallen sick and she was taken to a local hospital. Right? In the meantime, the commandos land, they shoot up the whole place, they kill everybody, all the soldiers, they destroy Uganda's air force. They had like about a dozen planes on the runway, destroyed them all. They rescued all the hostages. As they were coming out, there was a sniper in the control tower who shot at them. And one of the commandos, the lead, was shot and killed. Do you know who he was? It was Benjamin Netanyahu's older brother. His name was Jonathan. Can you imagine? The only commando, the leader, was shot and killed by a sniper. And when actually he was shot fatally, and when they flew into Nairobi, they took him straight to Nairobi Hospital. Straight to try and see if they could revive him. And they went able to. And now they're refueling, they're all safe, they're all refueling. Uwako Hospitali, he's died now. Take him back on the plane, they take off, back to Tel Aviv. Mzee Akuji.
Hajawahi sikia hiyo story, alisikia za baadaye.
So Idi Amin that time is so pissed. He was pissed.
Why?
His air force has been destroyed. His soldiers have been killed. He's been left up with egg on his face because these guys were all rescued. Alizusha.
Anazushia Kenya. Kwa sababu sisi tumwaahidi.
Correct. And Palestinians meanwhile also got pissed off that we gave Israelis all this stuff. So you know what they did? They bombed the Norfolk Hotel. One New Year's morning, remember? Norfolk. Early, late 70s, I think. But look it up. Norfolk bombing.
Yani tulianza bombing ya kitabu
My friend, One New Year's morning, people were having
These are Palestinians.
Yes, it was in retaliation because the Norfolk then was owned by Israelis. Block Hotel.
Ah, yes, the block hotels.
So that's why it was
1980.
There you go, 1980.
Sasa hiyo story hata unasikia unapigia
kijana. And guess who was having dinner at the Norfolk that night? Sir Charles Njonjo.
Oh man, they had planned it. Walijua ni nani wanatafuta.
Imagine that.
They knew who they were looking for.
You can't make this stuff.
Hakupatikana?
Oh no. Alikuwa sana. Alikuwa ndani ile. VIP kabisa. Can you imagine? What a story. What a man.
Oh man.
Sir Charles Njonjo. Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday. Do they write about these things?
Yeah.
Ama ni wewe sasa uko nayo kwa kichwa. You know, siku moja tutakushika tuweke kwa nyumba. Tukwambia anza kutapika maneno. And someone will be writing. Because you cannot uwezi tuwekea kitu kwa kichwa tutasomea wapi. Awesome.
Great stuff. This is what we call
Catch Jeff Koinange and Professor Hamo every day, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Hot 96.